We're here at IHIF, Jazz in the City, new brand for Steigenberger. How's it going?
Well, the going is good. We have started off well. We have a hotel already under operation in Amsterdam. Our second one is opening in Stuttgart. And we only started developing the brand 16 to 18 months ago. So a fantastic start in the time frame that we have had.
And who's the target guest? How do you describe, jazz?
Well, the target guest could be anyone. It's people who love fun, who love music, who like to be in a very fresh, young kind of environment. I wouldn't say it's typically just a brand for Gen X, Gen Y, millennials only. I think anybody who wants to go with the time, and we call it, who wants to press the nerve or the pulse of the time, that's the kind of people we are looking for.
So, why now over the last 18 months? Steigenberger, heaped in tradition.
Well, that's an interesting thought because Steigenberger as a brand name has been existent for 85 years. Then we added Intercity almost 26 years ago. And I think the company reached in its life cycle a phase where we could go in for another brand and maybe a few more brands as time goes on. We had the backing of the German market, which has been very strong. That's where 70% of our portfolio is. We had finished renovating most of the Steigenberger hotels. Intercity has always been a new build product. So I think the time was right, the interest rates were low, there was enough cash flow in the company, and I think Jazz could help us modernize the other two brands too. It's difficult to try to change them, but I think if some of the new things that we are doing with Jazz, if they are successful and are well received by the customers, I think both Steigenberger and Intercity would like to have them too.
And how does it compare in terms of profitability? We're at an investment conference here. What conversations are you having with investors with regards to, the different types of hotel you have in the portfolio?
I think profitability is the key, and I am actually glad to see, especially in Berlin, this being the 19th year, how the conversations from brands versus not brands has evolved more and more into profitability and talking about third-party operators on different angles. Could be the web, could be management companies, but the focus has been very strong on the profitability, and that's been our focus at Steigenberger too. When we developed Jazz, we said we need a brand that drives higher margin and almost achieves the same rate as a Steigenberger, or even overachieves a Steigenberger rate, but has a cost structure of an Intercity. And that is doable because the days of grand hotels, building those grand spaces, the non-room spaces that are difficult to yield on, are gone. I mean, I'm not saying grand hotellerie will go away, that is there to stay. But when you build new, you have a choice to design a product which goes with the time and at the same time drive margins, which you can do with a positioning like Jazz.
Okay, so what's next for Jazz in terms of rollouts? Is it, are you looking to roll out really, really quickly? Have you got, is it a Gateway Cities product, for instance?
Our ambition is to stay in the gateway cities or the commercial hubs of Europe and parts of the Middle East, especially in the UAE. But our ambitions are very realistic. We want to have 10 hotels in operation by 2020 and a total portfolio of 15.
Food and beverage, it's a big conversation within the hotel space at the moment with regards to whether you do food and beverage in-house or you outsource. Could you tell me a bit about the food and beverage offering at Jazz?
Well, let me start this way. We created a new restaurant concept for Jazz, which is called Rhythms, and it's casual dining, and most of the Jazz hotels will have a rhythm restaurant. That goes with the name Jazz too, because we have DJs performing live, and there is supposed to be music and dancing going on. The concept of the food is very local. So what we want to do is have Jazz globally, let's say 20%. That's the DNA of the brand, the name. But 80% of the food concept will come from the local areas. So it's different in Amsterdam, but you'll not have the same menu in Stuttgart. It has to have the local touch and feel. And Steigenberger as a group has always been very innovative and very good in food and beverage. And that's something we want to keep when the rest of the industry is more into outsourcing or reducing the size of food and beverage. We are actually not going down that route.
Okay. In the time period between launch and now, has there been anything that you do differently? Have you learned something through the experience to incorporate into other hotels as you roll out?
Yeah, the ambition and the reality is something which has to be balanced, and many things are beyond your reasonable control. And the things that happen in a marketplace where one company takes over another and you're using a new provider, that especially on the technology side of things, it can take time. But you have to keep the speed and stay in tune with the technology. So you can keep the speed, but it changes faster than we think it actually does.